First of all, congratulations to the Titans. Coach Vrabel and those guys did a good job. I didn't do nearly a good enough job for our football team tonight. We were uncharacteristic with the penalties, the turnovers, but I really think, the defense started off. They were giving us a chance. It was a good big-time interception by Jalen. And then ultimately, really just the momentum and the flow of the game. I didn't do nearly a good enough job of helping our players establish that, particularly on offense. You go back, you look at yourself critically, and we get these things corrected. But, that's all I know how to do. That's what we'll do. I trust the character of this locker room to be able to respond the right way. But not nearly good enough, and it starts with me.
Sean, first, can you give an update on Matthew Stafford's ankle?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure. He came back, played, did a good job leading the touchdown drive, so he got it rolled up pretty good on, bad play call, bad situation. I put him in right there, but I'm not really sure other than that.
What did you see on his 2 interceptions?
Yeah, really just not giving him much of a chance. I got to help our players out a little bit more. They did a good job of being able to make some plays, and that's really what it boils down to.
What's going on with the offensive line? Were they just losing one-on-one battles? Is that kind of what's
There was a couple times where they did a good job being able to win some ISOs. There was a couple where some late movements ended up coming free. And again, I think it goes back to the feel, the flow for a game, being able to allow our players to get into a rhythm and establish that. And really, I don't think I did nearly a good enough job of helping us do that. And then also, I think some of the penalties. We're playing behind the sticks. They did a good job. They had some players that were able to win some one-on-ones, and we were uncharacteristic. But I think overall, you look at yourself and you say, hey, what can I do to make sure we establish a little bit better rhythm and routine? And that's where I'm very bothered at myself for that.
You have 11 penalties for 110 yards. At what point did you start to see it kind of get out of hand in that direction? And how do you go about cleaning those up before your next opponent?
Yeah, I think, you go back and you say, all right, we're not going to allow one game to define us. I don't think that's reflective of the type of football team we are. We had a rough night, and it really seemed like that was kind of the narrative for the night. Really it was, a lot of those things that occurred that are uncharacteristic, and I choose to believe that tonight was not the reflection of who we are. We can look at it, we'll correct it, and we'll keep it moving.
The last drive deep into the red zone. What was that a way to remind you guys that you can still do it?
Oh, yeah. They're playing softer coverages and things like that, too. So you do have to be mindful of that. But I did like the way that our guys competed to the end, found a way to make enough plays. Thought Matthew showed his guts and his resilience, and you certainly want to ride with guys like that.
You said you weren't concerned about Matthew's ability to play well tonight without practicing this week. Did that play out?
Yeah, I don't want to use that as a crutch. I really think it boils down to ultimately, did you really did I really put our team in positions to make plays and have a rhythm and routine like I keep talking about? I didn't. Did Matthew make some uncharacteristic plays? Yeah, he did, but I'm not going to say that that's a result of what occurred.
Well, yeah, but Sean, at times football comes down to obviously winning physical matchups.
Yep.
And it looked like you guys got physically beaten up front, particularly in the first half. We go back to the Arizona game, it was kind of that same thing where up front they got bullied. Why do you think that is, and is that an issue?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think tonight they did a great job in some isolated instances, and if it was one matchup that you felt like continued to show itself, then you'd say, all right, maybe that's a concern right there. But again, when you're playing behind the sticks, you become one-dimensional like we were. I think that's tough versus any defensive front, especially a really good team like they are. And we'll go back, we'll look at it, we'll clean it up, and I trust that we'll play better moving forward.
How close was Von Miller to playing, and what's the chances for next week?
We'll see. We'll take it a day at a time with Von right now.
Especially careful with him, though.
Yeah, we are. We're going to be smart with Von. He's doing everything in his power to be ready to go, and hopefully he's ready to go next week. But I don't have, I can't give you that answer right now.
Is there a way you can diagnose some of the problems you guys are repeatedly having on third down, particularly some of those third and long situations?
Well, third and long, we've been pretty. You talking about defensively or offensively? Yeah, we didn't convert tonight, but if you look at over the season, I bet you we're as good as anybody in the league. So, we just weren't very good as a whole offensively at all tonight. I don't think that's reflective of the type of unit, the operation that we want to have, and looking forward to the opportunity to respond.
When they overturned the touchdown, I'm assuming you kicked the field goal because you're thinking enough time.
Yeah.
Were you close to going for it at all?
Yeah, I think when you look at how early that was in the second half, you felt like that was the smart decision. I thought our defense was playing really well and kind of was able to maybe say, let's capitalize on this momentum. But, that was a play that didn't go in our favor.
Wrap it up this week.
What's that?
What did you learn about your team tonight?
Well, I learned that, we've got to play cleaner football. I've learned that I didn't do a good enough job for this team. And I think you learn that, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing what we learn from our response. That's where I think we can learn the most. And the last time that we had a setback with this group, loved the way they responded on a short week, coming off that Arizona loss against Seattle. And now we'll get an opportunity to respond this week. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks. overall characterize this loss for you guys tonight?
I think we just had a lot of, flags, kind of beat ourselves, put ourselves in bad positions, man. So, when you do things like that, it's hard to win in this league. So,
From a defensive standpoint, Aaron, how did you feel? You guys held them to less yards through most of the game, but as you said, you're down big. What's that feel like when you're in that situation?
you just got to play ball. They was in the red zone twice on us, and we didn't hold up. We wasn't stout enough. We let them get in the end zone. So, no matter how they got down, no matter how they got down there, we still, gave it up. So, we got to be better as a team. So, we got to get back to the drawing boards, get back to work, and right back to trying to get back on track. So.
What happened on that touchdown when Ryan Tannehill scored? It looked like you actually saw him going the other direction, and you and Leonard.
Yeah. I seen him. I backdoored. I seen him. I about to start to run, and then, Flo came down and hit me. So I was a little mad about that, but it just happened. So.
Is that kind of like indicative of how things went for you guys tonight? Like you saw it, chance collision with the teammate, and
It was just one of those days, man. So.
When you talk about the difficulty with the way the rules are interpreted now, the roughing the passer, it's just such a fine line for someone like you.
Say it again.
How difficult is it, the way the rules are interpreted now for roughing the passer? It's a very thin line sometimes, and looks one way, they interpret it another way. Can you talk about how you?
You just got to just keep playing football. You can't let that affect you. Just don't let that slow you down. That's all I got on that. So.
Aaron, this is a team that has such an identity with Derrick Henry that you knew where the ball was going in most cases. The fact that he's not there now, does it take a minute to adjust to figure out what they're trying to do with him out of the lineup?
No, I felt like we knew what to expect. I felt like they tried to stay with their running game at times and play action off that same thing they've been doing. So I think we was prepared for that and was ready for that. So I think they kind of stuck with the same game plan pretty much, just a different back there. So.
I understand the rules say that you guys can't be publicly critical of some of the flags and things like that, but in terms of what you said before about those hurting you guys, I guess were you surprised at some of the way that those kind of fell at times?
They called the flag. That's what it was. I can't say nothing about it. We just got to keep playing and not allow that to slow us down. So.
What can you learn from a game like this?
We just got to be more. We just got to be better. It's a lot of ups and downs. It's a long season. So this ain't going to affect us. We're going to get right back on track, get right back to work, and be back better than ever. We got to get ready for a Monday night game against a divisional opponent that we know. We don't got no time to allow this to affect us. So it's right on to the next week now. So.
Sean McVay was talking about how he was proud of how you guys bounced back from the Arizona game. Is this a similar situation? Does it feel the same to you?
Yeah, it's a loss. So obviously we ain't happy with the loss. Every game, every time we go out there, we expect to win. We fell short today, so just anxious to get back to work and get back on the field so we can get this taste out of our mouth. So.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Aaron. would you assess the Lions' play today against the Titans' defensive front?
I think it was one of those days, a couple plays really kind of defined the game. I mean, you look at it early in the game, thought they just kind of did a good job of covering us downfield and running a lot down there and kind of made what I'd call some coverage-type plays. And then really, unfortunately, 2 mistakes by us, and then a couple just where we just weren't clean enough to get touchdowns there as we got some momentum. So, I think it's one of those games you just keep battling and hopefully something ticks and we get hot, and just weren't able to do that today.
Aaron, physically, it seemed like they were kind of bullying you guys at first. Jeffrey Simmons had 3 sacks, 4 quarterback hits. What was going on up front? Was it more physical? Was it breakdowns by you guys?
I think if you went back and look at those plays, especially early, some of those were what I would call the ball still sitting back there and nobody's open down the field and kind of late. I think he had one good rush there at kind of late second quarter where I thought he just beat a guy up front. Outside of that, we're running the football at a pretty good tick, which would be more the physical part of the game. And then, really backed up situation. I thought they had a late rush there. We had a late looper that kind of came late on a play. Another one that we'll have to look at and see if there's something we can do differently. But, again, another one where, you just want to be cleaner. But if we look out through the season, a lot of the times either the ball's been out or we've been able to kind of convert in that situation too. And I think that's the tough thing. When you play in some of these games and these teams are going to play coverage, it's a battle. Sometimes the ball gets out, sometimes it doesn't. I wouldn't say that I agree very much about the physical part because I thought we were running the football really well. And then I thought really some of those sacks they had were more late coverage type situations where, we just, for whatever reason, up front weren't as clean as we wanted to be and weren't able to get the ball out and weren't able to get open, and I think you have games like that, and that's the reality. And you come back and you approach it the same way and you hope it works out better the next time.
Andrew, you guys have not turned the ball over in offense a lot this season. Obviously, those situations, especially in the first half, leading to points the way they did. What does that do to change y'all's game plan on offense in terms of that feel you get from Sean and from Matthew, and then how do you guys maybe sort of?
Well, I think in this game, you look at it, it's a team that obviously lost their most productive offensive player. Really, the thing they needed in this game was for us to make mistakes, and that's exactly what we did. I think it hurts, and it's a game that you're frustrated by, but the reality is I would probably say there's 2-3 plays in the first half that really dictated the entire game and get you behind the chains, and now changes the entire game from a standpoint of you've given them 14 points. Now they're a ball control offense already. You've kind of set them up with a perfect game that they needed it to be. And that's just the reality of it. And like I said in the locker room, kids pout, men respond. And we have the opportunity to respond. And anytime you get that in this league where there's another Sunday, another opportunity, you should feel happy about it and blessed because, you know what, that's all you ever want. It's a chance to respond from a bad day.
Did you tell your teammates that?
Yeah, I told them that in the locker room. Again, I think these kind of games can look one way or the other. And the reality is they can come down to a few moments. And they made a few big plays in some moments that we didn't, and that's really how you lose in this league. So it's a wake-up call to it doesn't matter if you play well, if you play good in certain moments, if in big moments you don't make the plays that need to be had or you give away plays, you know what, this is how you feel. And I don't think that's on the quarterback, I don't think that's on the line, I don't think that's on the running back or the receivers or the coaches, it's on all of us. And we all have that opportunity to respond. And so all of us have to respond in our best performance possible come next Monday night.
As he typically does after a loss, Sean blamed himself mostly for it. But as players, what could you guys have done better, either in the preparation or just in the execution of the game plan?
Well, I think we'll go back and look. I don't know. There's some situations like that. Like I said, to your point, or in the first half where they've hit Matthew a couple times. It was some stuff where they're kind of coming from all over the place, and it's a little bit of, how we've played offensively and how we've done things. But get the ball down the field also means that you're holding it a little longer. And I think that they had some good plans for how they were going to twist and stunt and move around and do things. And so I think it's one of those that gives you a great learning op. I think you look at 2018, we made it to the Super Bowl. You look at that season, no matter how many runs we went on, there was always this opportunity in the season where some team had a response to what you did well. Like, hey, this is this team's plan now for you're going to do these things really well. Okay, now we've seen it. How can we handle that better the next time? How can we respond? And I think this is another opportunity here where, okay, they had a good plan and they came up with some stuff that they thought worked well, and we'll go back and look at it and see if it was physical errors or if it was things where, you know what, maybe there's a better way we can do this. And I think that's what NFL football is about, is how you grow and continue to get better through the bumps through the season, and they're always going to be there. And so I think this is our opportunity to see what those bumps look like and what we can do to fix them.
And Sean mentioned after he liked the response you guys had after the Cardinals game. What is it about that response in particular that you'll look to mimic or replicate this week to try to get the result you want to get?
Well, I think in a similar game, a game where we felt like we played pretty good up front and played pretty well as an offense, but just made silly mistakes and kind of kicked ourselves and did things where you're like, okay, we're handing them opportunities because we're just not executing things that we do on a daily basis, not just in games, but daily basis that we usually handle well. And so I think that it was one of those things where it was an opportunity where you're like, all right, we've really set ourselves up this way. And I think this game was identical, maybe even worse in my opinion, because it really, you know, if we don't give them 2 plays, you know, I think it's a wholly different ball game. So, you know, you hand a team 14 points that's a winning football team, and not to forget the top team in the AFC, you can't do that in the NFL and plan to win. I mean, that's just not winning football. That's not our identity. That's not who we've been, and we did it today, and I think all of us will be better for it.
With the 12 penalties today, is that just frustration or just things piling on?
Yeah, I don't know what the count is of what each ones are. I mean, some of them are, you know, I think were some late hits, some of them were personal fouls, some holds, you know, false starts, all that stuff. So I think that, you know, when you look at these games when you're down, I think, you know, you have a tendency to see that you've usually hurt yourself in multiple ways. And I think this is another example of we hurt ourselves with penalties as well. I wouldn't say that we had a bunch that really I would say were critical early in the game, but, you know, really offensively late in the game, I think you're trying to get things off and do things. Some of that's going to come up, but yeah, it's definitely something again that's not really something that's us. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to look at the game and say, here's some mistakes early that we made that aren't us, and here's some penalty situations that just aren't us. If we just keep our poise and play like winners, we'll have the opportunity to be in that situation to have a chance to win at the end.
As you guys prepare for the upcoming game against the 49ers, obviously being a division game, but how big is this game for you all, not just physically, but mentally, knowing the history for the last couple of seasons going up against that team?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at it, they've been a great example of a team that we've kind of had those kind of games against. I mean, if you look at it last year, really kind of had some meltdown situations in their games against them, and you know, really not jumping on opportunities that we had in those games. And then the year before, really, I think in the second half, you know, kind of multiple times turning the ball over either right before the half or right out of the half against them. That's been for touchdowns or run back for touchdowns, things where that's kind of been the game we've played against. And, you know, funny how the league works. You play a game like this, and then you're going to go against a team that's kind of been what you've done, you know. And so we got a chance to respond over the last couple of years and show the winning kind of program that we are. Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
Matthew, how's your ankle doing?
It's fine. It'll be all right. I just rolled it on myself, really.
Can you take us through those 2 turnovers?
Yeah, I mean, the first one, you know, guys got a hold of me. I got to do a better job probably just falling on that one or, you know, throwing it over Robert's head maybe earlier. Was trying to maybe get back through it, but can't have that. I basically spotted him 14 points. I mean, can't do that in the NFL, especially against a good team like that wants to, you know, get out in front, run the football, mix coverages, do all that kind of stuff. So just wasn't good enough early in the game. Turnovers really, you know, killed us, and those were on me. So, you know, if I clean those up, and I know I will, I got a lot of confidence in this team to go out there and play some, you know, really good football. Our defense played good, you know, good enough to keep us in the game, good enough to really, you know, if we don't turn the ball over twice, you know, give us a chance to win that one. So, got to play better myself, you know, first and foremost.
Were you hampered at all by your back or by being limited?
No, I felt good. Felt good physically. Just didn't do enough early in the game. You know, I took a couple sacks early in the game too that kind of helped them build a little bit of momentum where I could have probably gotten the ball out. Was probably trying to be a little bit too aggressive and hold on to it a little bit. So there's a lot of things I can do and clean up and be better. I'll take a hard look at myself and know, I got a big opportunity on Monday night next week to go out there and, play well.
Without looking at the film yet, when you felt did you feel out of sync, or were a lot of those coverage situations that you found yourself holding the ball longer?
Yeah, I think I just got to get it out. There were guys underneath open. I was trying to probably do a little bit too much, and just got to play within the scheme, play within myself, and do that a little bit better. Felt like kind of settled in the second half, but at that point, I'd done too much damage really, early in that game to get us out of it. I love the way our guys fought. We were close. Maybe if the Higbee touchdown stands, it's a different ball game there late. So I love the way our guys fight and the way they battle. I always appreciate that, but just got to be cleaner. Turnovers, penalties, all those kind of things hurt us tonight.
How much do you think on the first interception? I mean, every quarterback's gone through this before. You're deciding, should I take the sack, give them the 2 points, and of course you want to throw it incomplete and get out of it. What goes through your mind in those nanoseconds? What are you thinking about? Because obviously afterwards you say, I wish I had taken the sack in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reactionary football. Football's a reactionary game. I just got to make a better decision there. I mean, I'm been doing this long enough to know that, can't just throw one right down the middle of the field there. If I can find the sideline somewhere and get it out, that's probably a better option. So try to do that one next time.
How much do you think just the atypical practice week and not being able to practice really affected today?
Not for me. It didn't feel like that was an issue. Really just execution when we were out there. Wasn't good enough on my part. So I'll just got to be a little bit better.
Matthew, Sean, curious, when you say some of those sacks are due to you holding the ball, how many of those would you say?
I'm going to have to go look at the tape. But, for sure, the first couple early on, there was one late as well on a third down. Probably could have gotten one out where we ended up kicking a field goal. I got to go look at it. But, yeah, too many of them.
But that's you looking for a big play as opposed to just taking one.
Just got to, do a better job of getting the ball out. Our guys up front were, giving me enough time, and I just got to make sure that, just stay ahead of the chains, keep the sticks moving, and not try to force too much anything down the field.
How do you shake something like this off?
I mean, you just turn the tape on, learn from it. I've been doing this a long time. Had a bunch of good games, had a bunch of bad games before. I know what it looks like to go out there and respond and play well the next week. I think our team does. We did it earlier this year. We plan on doing it again.
Sean mentioned your response to the Cardinals game and just being pleased with it. What did that look like in the days that followed as far as just the way you guys worked and prepared that set you up for success?
Yeah, I mean, I think no different than most of the days we're in there. We got a great team that is full of guys that care about putting the right stuff out there every single day. So I know we'll show up to work ready to go. Pissed off about losing the game, absolutely. But ready to go out there and make whatever mistakes we made in this game, make them right, and make sure we do a good job next time we're out on the field.
How tough is it to exercise that patience when you know very well the big play capability of this offense?
It shouldn't be tough. I just got to take what the defense gives me. They were doing a great job of trying to keep it all in front of them tonight, and I didn't do a good enough job of just, checking it down early in the game and keeping us ahead of the sticks and doing all the things that would get, build positive momentum for our team. If I do that, it's probably a different ballgame.
All set?
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. not easy to characterize how this game went for you guys, but in every phase, what just, not necessarily defensive, on most of it, but what just wasn't clicking for you guys?
I don't know. It kind of got away from us for a little bit. I feel like we started to battle back very well, but we kind of just kept shooting ourselves in the foot, or we're losing momentum. Either it was a penalty or just a play didn't go our way. Can't really directly point to one thing, but yeah, it was just a combination of a bunch of things.
Jordan, after you watch the film of this game, what do you learn the most from it?
I'll let you know after I watch, I guess. But yeah, I would just say we can't shoot ourselves in the foot, because I felt like we had spurts where we were playing well, especially on defense, but we just couldn't play complementary football at the end of the day. We just shot ourselves in the foot, like I said. So.
Aaron said it was just one of those nights. What does that feel like after going through it?
It just felt like we couldn't get all the way right. It was like we would battle back almost, and then something happened. It was one of those nights, like you said.
You've been through this before, obviously. The teams had bad games and you come back. What do you say to yourself? Is it sort of like a relief pitcher, bad night, forget it? Can you forget it completely, or do you want to forget it completely?
Me personally, I don't want to. I want us to remember what this felt like and learn from our mistakes, because we made a bunch of them, but we still had a chance, which is the good part. But yeah, definitely got to learn from this and remember this one, because if we do, I feel like we'll be in a good spot.
When you have a team that comes in without their best player, the running back, is it some kind of mental breakdown sometimes where you guys saying, do you let up just a little bit, you think?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, it's the NFL, so there's talent everywhere, and a lot of it's comes down to opportunity. Some guys, you don't know about until they get their chance, so you can't take anybody lightly in this league, and we know that, so we didn't take them lightly at all.
I want to follow up on that. When they're missing their guy, do you see a different mentality from the get-go tonight with their intensity?
Honestly, I say we approach every game the same. At least I do, and the DBs do for sure. So.
Well, I'm talking about them. Did you feel like they were really ready to go tonight because they were shorthanded?
I think the way they're coached and their culture, I feel like they're always ready to go, it seems like. So no, I don't think this night in particular they brought it a little more. I think that's just how they play.
Hey, Jordan, I think, obviously lost in something like this. There were parts, other than maybe the sudden changes and all of that, which was, fast and furious in the beginning, but there were parts, you guys on defense, seemed like you guys are really with pieces back together from injury and whatnot, finding your identity a bit. In those parts where you felt like maybe you were pulling the team back in it, what was that like, and how did you see those pieces come together?
It's really cool just being able to make plays with your teammates. You work all week just to showcase your abilities, and when you're able to make plays, it feels good. I feel like we had a little momentum going, just wasn't able to pull it all together, obviously, but yeah, we definitely have stuff to build off of.
Jordan, after your first loss, Sean mentioned being pleased with the response you guys had, obviously, from the Cardinals game. What was it about the days that followed that, whether it was the way you guys worked or prepared or anything else that kind of set you guys up for success, or that you want to look to replicate this week?
They should just put our head down and work. We don't listen too much to the outside noise, but we just pay attention to what we can get better at, and we work at it every single day. So that's really our main focus, just getting better, cleaning stuff up, and not shooting ourselves in the foot. So yeah, I think that'll be the main focus now.
All set?
Thanks, Jordan.